Jimmy McAllister found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Shayna.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and it's goal. Still Glenn Wheeler. Hayden Flynn whacks the goal. It's the tie for a winner.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. This is the preview show, fresh off the back of a Steel City derby defeat. But we have no time to lick our wounds as the league waits for absolutely no one. Next up, we make the trip to the capital to take on a Millwall side who find themselves just outside the top six. And with me to tell us all about the Lions, or Mill, as they like to say, is Ben from Chat with Chaps. Ben, how's it going, mate? You all right?
All good, mate. I must say, your intro is absolutely amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was, it was good. I enjoyed that.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, it's going back all those years ago, even before I was born, right up to the present day.
Some great goals in there, mate.
Yes, and the music's not too bad as well. But Ben, before we kind of touch on kind of more recent times, let's just talk about I'll just touch on the previous meetings. When it comes to us visiting the Den, it's certainly a mixed bag. Although one win in our last 6 meetings, that came 2 seasons ago with that 2-0 win under Danny Rail, an EK Ugbo goal. My God, he has been awful since. It's been a long time since we've been able to say that one. And then a Masaba goal made it 2-0 before half-time. It's also the game that Ashley Fletcher came on as a sub in the 80th minute.
Joe Edwards era for us as well, James?
Yeah, it would have been, yeah. And he got 2 yellows in injury time and got himself sent off. Your last win last season against us at your place, 3 second-half goals from Coburn, Cooper, and a player that's heavily linked with us in Watmore meant that we're left with our tails between our legs in our 3rd straight defeat of the season. Just kind of, when you think about playing against Sheffield Wednesday, what's that fixture mean to you? Have you got any fond memories, or is it just another game for you?
No, absolutely not, mate. I mentioned the Joe Edwards era because I was there when he took over his first game in charge of us, obviously at Hills when we won 4-0. And I was convinced that we were going to go on and win the Champions League within 3 years with Joe Edwards in charge. That obviously didn't turn out, and it was probably looking at it with a little bit of rose-tinted glasses. I think on another day, had you have scored or had someone up front who could have scored, it probably would have been about 5-4 that day. But no, it's always a fixture I look out for. I've got a little bit of a soft spot for Wednesday, just always massive club, traditional, very similar to us in terms of fan base. Hate what you've been going through, to be perfectly honest, and we think ourselves lucky with the owners that we've got. But always a fixture I look out for, James. I always look playing Wednesday.
Great stuff. Always nice to hear. Yeah, it's been pretty tough, but hopefully there are better times ahead. But we are.
And my old PE teacher, believe it or not, was a Sheffield Wednesday fan. He always used to give it to us. Always.
Look, we get everywhere. Wednesday fans get absolutely everywhere. It's like rats. You're never more than a couple of meters away from a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Let's talk about last season then. Very, very patchy. I think that's putting it mildly. You slipped down to 19th at one point, but then 8 wins out of the last 13 games, so you just finished 2 points out of the top 6. I mean, how did the season go from your perspective, Ben?
A very unexpected one, to be perfectly honest, mate. I don't think any of us really thought that we would end up making a push for the playoffs, but as you pointed out, I mean, we finished the season absolutely flying form. There was a moment, obviously, at Burnley on the last game where we were in the playoffs. It was obviously a big mountain to climb and a big ask final day of the season to go there and beat Burnley. But it was an unbelievable end to the campaign. I think the changes that the club have made over the last couple of years, and I'll just touch on that very briefly, we've gone to more of a director of footballer model. We've started to change our recruitment processes. We've gone trying to sign younger players. For a long time, James, we've been very here and now recruitment. And
do you think you're trying to get rid of that stigma that Millwall's got? Because it does have one, doesn't it? That it's just rough and ready and just going to smash teams out the way. You're just trying to get rid of that as a club.
No, I don't think we're trying to get rid of it, man. It's actually probably something at the moment that we need a lot more of, because that is one of the criticisms that we probably have as a fan base with Alex Neil is when we lose, we get fucking hammered. We don't lose 1 or 2-1. It's 4-5. We seem to go 1-0 down. We did it recently against Birmingham. We went 1-0 down and we lost 4-0, and it was the players that seemed to chuck it in. So there is that element of we've lost a lot of seniority. We lost a lot of championship experience. The likes of Saville went, Honeyman went in the summer. Huge turnover in sort of really experienced players. Sean Hutchinson, obviously club captain. So we lost a lot of experience from the club. But they wanted to change and go down this, buy younger players and sell them on for profit, ultimately. That's kind of what we're doing. In the meantime, if we can unearth a few gems that are going to fire us to the promised land, so be it. But if we don't, we can look to sell them, move them on. We've seen the likes of Fleming in recent seasons. SA, obviously, last year went to Palace through the youth system. So we're trying to change. But as I said, mate, it was an unexpected one last year. We'd spent a few quid in the January window, but it was more to a view to this season, I think. But it just so happened that it started to click. Alex Neil started to get his message across. And as you say, we really finished the season strongly last year. And that final game of the season, despite losing, was one of the best away ends I've ever been in. It was electric. So, to finish, was it 2 points in the end? I think we missed out on it. Yeah, far and above expectations. But now going into this year, I think expectations have risen and we're not quite matching them, I would say, at the moment. It's been an indifferent start despite our league position.
Just going to touch on a point you mentioned there about kind of signing younger players to sell them on and stuff. As a Millwall fan, are you happy with that approach? Is that something that you welcome? Because obviously it's difficult when you speak to fans of other clubs. You know, they can't really get any momentum going because they get a good player and then they get them for literally a season or even half a season, and then they're gone out the door and they can't really build on that. Yes, it's great for the club and stuff, but what's your perspective on it?
Yeah, I think we saw a commercial table. It was either last year or the year before, James, and we were actually, it must have been the year before. When did Plymouth get relegated? Was it last year or the year before?
Last season, I think.
Last year it would have been, sorry. And there was a commercial table we saw in terms of what we were bringing in as a club, and we were bottom of that list. And it was very much a case of we were trying to improve things off the field and we needed just to change what we were doing on and off the pitch. As I said, we were very much recruitment style was here and now, sign older players, shorter term deals. Long-winded answer here, mate. But yes, we need to try and, I think every club needs to try and strike that balance of signing someone, realising their potential or getting what you can out of them and striking while the iron's hot in terms of that bid. Again, I use Fleming as an example. We paid, I think it was up to £2 million in the end. We activated or bought the percentage that they would have retained for Tuna Sittard. So we knew we were going to potentially sell him on. He then went to Burnley, and obviously that's kind of now kickstarted us, enabled us to reinvest into that team. So again, long-winded answer, mate. Yes, I think we're happy, but I think there's a lot of people that are still. I mean, Neil Harris ultimately fell out with the club over this, and that was a big reason why he left. We were signing players that he didn't believe were ready, and I think the club wanted the manager to come in and sort of play the younger players almost, regardless of the form they're in, regardless if they were going to be good enough for us. It was just to play them, get them to a point, and then if a club comes in, Ivanovic being a prime example, had a great year last year, got heavily linked in the summer with moves to the likes of Parma, Wolves, Leicester, and it was sort of north for £10 million. Again, you look at the fee that we paid for him, it was minimal in that respect. So, yeah, again, I've say it a couple of times, mate. Long-winded answer.
Look, I think we're all for the long-winded answer. We've got half an hour, Ben. So I don't want one-word answers because it'll be 10 minutes and we're wrapped up. So we
got to try and find a balance. But every club has, right? And I think at the minute we seem to be doing a good job. I think the likes selling for SA for good money, come through the youth academy. Again, another one who's kind of kick-started it for us. Ivanovic probably looks like one that's going to be out the door next if he needs to pick up his form. But based on last year, as I said, heavily linked with big clubs. And listen, I don't mind the model as long as there is an element of, as long as they're not in the door for a year and we don't see anything out of it. Yeah. But if it allows us to buy players that are going to aid our playoff push or whatever it might be, then let's say it's the balance.
Are the rest of the fans on board? Because my worry is, like, as a club, we've not had that model. Certainly not in the last 10 years under previous ownership. But we didn't have a director of football. We didn't have didn't have any CEO, anything like that. Really, my worry is that we are a big club, and there's no doubt about it, really. But if it's more of a project that, and we're going down to League One, and if that was going to be the case, that we are going to invest in youth players, it's not going to work instantly, is it really? And there's a bit of a time for that to develop. I mean, obviously, you are in the Championship, you have been for some time, so it's a little bit different for you. But what's the rest of the fans like? Are they okay with it? Because we'll come on to it in a bit, but you're flirting with the playoffs like every single season. You just can't quite get up there,
Yeah, I think I touched upon it a second ago. It was part of the reason, as far as we understand, or most fans seem to understand, was that the reason that Neil Harris left was he didn't get the players that he wanted, or the types of players that he wanted. The change in taking the signings out of the manager's hands, I think, as I said, we were going towards that more director of football and more reliant on recruitment team to find those players for us. I think it's something that we've never done as a club. So it's taken a lot of the fans a while to get their head around it. But when you have, again, seen the likes of Ivanovic coming in, listen, there's been a lot of duds as well. There's been players that we've signed in the last January window that still haven't kicked a ball for us. Yeah. So again, it's the rough with the smooth, and sort of saying we are going to sign a few duds. Some players we probably won't ever see, but we might unearth a few gems on the way. And as I said, if we get enough time with them and they get us to the place where we want to be, and we can get money for them in the long term, it's the way every club's got to sort of operate, I would say, James, because we've been so reliant on the Berylsons. They've put their own money in, and they're going to want to return at some point. And God forbid it ever happened, they did sell the club. No one wants that. I don't begrudge them at all getting some of their money back, being perfectly honest. That might be just my opinion. I know some football fans won't have that, but they're amazing owners, and I'm thankful for everything they do. So, yeah, if they want to go down that model and it doesn't affect us too much on the pitch, we'll caveat it with that, then I'm happy with it, and I think most fans are.
Yeah, you mentioned his name already a few times, Alex Neil, your gaffer. He came in last season. It's his first full season now this time around. Obviously, he's had a summer to get some players in. What's he been like from your perspective?
Love him. I genuinely think he's a top 3 manager in the league, James. I don't see many clubs where he wouldn't be able to go to. I think he's excellent. His record really speaks for itself. He obviously got Sunderland promoted, I know, albeit in League One, but they were down there for a long time. Was knocking on the door of the playoffs with Preston on a very, very small budget. Obviously got Norwich promoted, and I think he got promoted with the team he was managing in Scotland. So I love him. His interviews are great. It's very, very rare that I listen to him and think, oh, he's a bit wide off the mark there, Alex, or it didn't really seem that it was that sort of game. He's very honest in his interviews, and us Millwall fans, that's all we ever want from our players and management, really. So, yeah, I love him, really do. And I think this year, as I said, expectations have risen, rightly so, but I think he's the right man to get us into that playoff picture finally.
What would you say his style of play is like then, Ben? Like, what's his football he likes?
We have improved, I think, when we go in front, as I said to you earlier, when we go in front, we're a good front running side. The only criticism I do have is when we have gone behind, we've been spanked. So that is the only question mark over him at the moment. But I think, listen, we haven't gone away from our roots. We're still very well organised. We like to play down either wings. We've got 2 decent winners in Femi Aziz and Ballo on the other side, who's in on loan. A lot of our play will be to get it out wide and get balls into the box, but we do go direct when we need to. We're certainly not a direct team in a sense of we miss out midfield. We are playing more football now, which I think is good to see. So listen, I don't have many, if one, criticism of Alex Neil, to be perfectly honest. I'm really enjoying him as manager, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, how did summer go then? We've been signing players. You mentioned that you got a head of recruitment and things now. So, were the Alex Neil signings? Were the head of recruitment signings? Do you not know what's?
I think that's the mystery of it. We don't seem to know. I think it is going to be a case of Alex Neil's going to have his input in where he wants to strengthen, and then it's over to the recruitment team to go and do it. I don't know that for fact, but that's what it would seem. Recruitment in the summer was. I mean, it all hinged on Tanganga, right? That saga rumbled on for a while. I know he went to the other lot, so we won't talk about him too much. But it was all sort of hinging on him, and were we going to go and get replacements? We signed Caleb Taylor from West Brom, who was on loan at Wickham last year. We haven't seen a great deal of it. we'll say that. But after Saturday's performance, there was a few, what have we done here? He doesn't seem to be the quickest at centre-half. We spent a few million quid on him. We got, who else did we sign? Someone, I'm trying to think of the other main...
You signed Will Smallbone, but he's out injured.
Will Smallbone, well, that's the story of our season. I'm sure we'll get on to that, James. We can't keep a team fit at the moment, so it's an amazing achievement to be where we are. Will Smallbone, great signing. Very happy with him. Remember seeing him at Southampton in that promotion season, and he was excellent. So, yeah, very, very happy to have him. We haven't seen him. He's barely played. He come in unfit, and then he's been out since. So, yeah, I've not really seen him. Ballo, who I said's coming on loan. I think there's a view to a permanent deal with him. He's an ex-Chelsea youth player. Signed him from an Austrian side. He's been either excellent or quiet. We haven't seen a sort of consistent 7 out of 10 level of performance from him. One
player we know quite well, Massimo Luongo, another player that's out injured as well by the looks of things.
I think that's his Millwall career done, to be perfectly honest. He got done his crew shirt at QPR. Again, as Millwall type player as you can get, gritty, tough, hard-working, honest. No one said a bad word about him. He seems like a great person, and I'm absolutely gutted for him. He come into the side again because of injuries we had to other players, and he started to really put a stamp into that position. And I said we lost a lot of leadership and seniority, and he come in naturally as a bit of an older player and has just been excellent. And he done his crew shirt at QPR, and I think that's going to be his Millwall career over. I think he only had a year deal, I think. So I think he'll probably get released at the end of the year. Hopefully he gets back. But yeah, absolutely love him, mate. Absolutely loved him.
Yeah, we loved him at Sheffield Wednesday. That was a bit sour at the end of his Sheffield Wednesday career. He found out on Instagram that he was getting released. That's the story anyway. You've mentioned expectations; they've gone up a notch. You know, you've had 5 top 10 finishes in your last 8 seasons since getting promoted back into the Championship. I mean, one of the other seasons you finished 11th as well, so you know it wasn't exactly a disaster. I think there's only one season where you were, I think maybe your second season in the Championship where you were flirting with relegation. All the others are top half finishers. I think you've already alluded to it. Really, I was going to ask you: is the expectation to kick on now and actually get into the top 6 finally?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think for most of us this year, I would certainly one. I said I can't see us being out the top 6, being totally honest. I thought we had a more settled side. We had the signings we have made have just given us that little bit of depth. I think that's been a lot of our problems over the years, and that's been really, really tested this season with the amount of players we've had out injured. But yeah, that's been our real downfall over recent seasons. Our 11's been good, and we haven't really had too much outside of that. This year, at times, we're leaving players out the match day squad and people are going, how's he not even in the squad? Which is a nice place to be. However, like I said, we've had so many injuries. We're scratching around for youth team players. Again, I think we only had 6 subs at the weekend. It was just, yeah, we're bare bones at the minute, real bare bones. I don't think we've had the same 11 play all season. But yes, expectations have gone up. As I said, my expectation for us this year was to get into the top 6. Full season of Alex Neil's management, a couple of good additions. I really thought we were, but the injuries have completely killed us, mate. Absolutely killed us. We can't get any sort of consistency going. We either look very good or very bad. I touched upon the Birmingham result the other week. 4-0 flattered us. Could have been 14. We were awful. And then before that, we'd obviously beaten Stoke 2-0. Beat West Brom 3-0, and we just looked very good. And I was like, here we go, we're going to go on a bit of a run. Then we drew last minute against Oxford, obviously being 2-1 up. That seems to kick the stuffing out of us a little bit. Go to Birmingham, we lose 4-0, and we've just struggled to find a little bit of form since then. So, again, long-winded answer. My expectations have gone up, but inconsistent at the moment.
Go on then. You've kind of rattled through some of those games that you've played recently. You're like 4 straight wins, and then you're now 4 games without a win. 2 draws and 2 defeats. Portsmouth 3-1 just this weekend with a red card as well, which is not going to help proceedings with a lack of players and stuff. 2
more injuries that went off as well.
Yeah, so really, really down to the bare bones, which is music to our ears, and maybe we can finally get out of the minus. Although we need more than 1 win to do that. What the performances been like then? Because, like I said, you go from 4 straight wins to then not winning in 4. have you been unlucky in some of those games, or have you been? I mean, the 4-0 you mentioned that you were really poor, but
were we unlucky? Oxford, yes, I would say we were unlucky. Brannigan scored a worldie, and the last goal was a pinball machine, bounced around, and they scored literally in the 98th minute. So you could put that down as a little bit unlucky, James, to be perfectly honest. West Brom said we were excellent. Leicester, we were very good. Stoke, we just looked better than them. Preston was one of the worst games of football I've ever seen from both sides. It was terrible. So, as I said, mate, it's been really, really inconsistent. We've either been very good or very distinctly average. So, yeah, I've got no idea what you're going to get from us on Wednesday. I've got no idea.
Yeah, well, we're probably exactly the same, to be fair. A reaction, maybe after how dismal it was at the weekend. In terms of players to watch then, I mean, I've already reeled off a few that are already injured, but I was just looking and I was like, oh, you're leading goal scorer. And then I was like, he's got 4 in 4. Oh, no, he hasn't, because he hasn't played since, I think, I want to, for quite a while. Femi Aziz is one of them. How much of a blow has he been? Because you don't score many goals. I mean, I know that's rich coming from us, who's scored even less than what you have. But when you look at the teams up in the top 6, I know you're just outside of it. Yours stands out as being, not scoring enough. He's got 4 goals. He's your leading goal scorer, but he's not available.
Yeah, and I think this has been the real highlight for us, mate, that since he's been out, we can't create anything. He's been, as you said, he's got 4 in 4. He come back from injury, which was over the summer. He came back into the side, scored an unbelievable goal against West Brom, got an assist against QPR. I think he scored against Stoke as well. And he's a difference maker for us. And as you say, he is our most creative and dangerous player for us. The bad news for you is I've heard he is going to be back for Wednesday. So, yeah, I think he's going to be back in the side. We need him because I don't know who else we were going to play otherwise. There was rumours they were going to do a raffle before the game just to get some players on the bench.
You're taking your boots down here, just you might get on the bench.
Exactly, mate, exactly. It's like that at the minute. But, yeah, Femi Aziz, absolutely. Coburn's been out injured as well. Ivanovic, I would have said, based on last year, but he's been in horrendous form. I know you said he scored 2 in 2, but he's just really lacking some confidence up there. I don't think we've helped him with the formation that we play. Last year, he did strike up a bit of a partnership with Coburn. We were playing 2 up top. So Coburn's been out and he's been up top on his own for a lot of it. And he is looking like a 19-year-old Serbian. It easily looks a little bit lost at times. So, yeah, I would have said Ivanovic and Aziz. Ivanovic is in no form whatsoever, so watch him score a hat-trick on Wednesday, I hope. But, yeah, if Femi's back, he's going to be our main man.
One player who I've been a bit disappointed with is Macaulay Langstaff. I know when he signed for you, I want to say last season, he's one of those players that, we're always looking at and going, he's absolutely banging goals in for fun. I want to say back in League 2, Notts County. I think he scored loads of goals in non-league for him as well. And you're thinking, what, do you take a punt on him? Obviously, Millwall did take a punt on him. And is it just one step too far for him? Is he, or is there a player in there, do you think?
He, in my opinion, hasn't really had a fair stab at it. You look at all of his time at Notts County, James, and he was playing a lot with I don't know he's
McGoldrick.
He was playing a lot with him, and again, he was playing in a 2. He come in under Neil Harris at times, had to play on his own up front. We weren't doing very well at that point, so he was thrown into a side that was struggling, playing up front on his own in the Championship. He didn't really have a fair crack. Now, I'm going to caveat that with he's now played under Alex Neil. He's played under Neil Harris, and he hasn't really got a kick for either of them. I don't see him day to day. We can only go on his goal record for Notts County, which is obviously amazing. But like you touched upon it, I think it might just be a step too far. If he can't get a game now, all the injuries that we've got, and I mean that from a starting position. He
started last game, didn't he? Started at the weekend,
Started against Pompey, but it kind of tells you everything you need to know with him.
such a shame, isn't it? Because you're thinking, like, that many goals, surely he can translate that to, it can't be that much different, surely. Saying that, talking from an absolutely zero experience in football whatsoever in terms of a playing perspective. But, you just think, surely 28 goals, like, you can just do the same in the Championship. It's just exactly, it's no different.
Yeah, as I said, mate, absolutely. That's been my opinion. I'd like to have seen him have a bit more of a fair crack. That being said, he scored an excellent goal first game of the season against Norwich. We just haven't seen enough of that. As I said, he's played under Neil Harris and Alex Neil now, and neither of them have given him enough game time. So they know better than us, don't they? So, yeah, I just don't. I was amazed he was still here come the end of the summer. I thought at his age, his stage of his career, he would want to go and play regular football again. But he's probably, he will be on the highest contract he's ever had coming from Notts County, and he's probably happy collecting that, dare I say. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was someone that went in January, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, because he's not as young as you think, either. Is he? 28 years old. He's not. No. You think he's up and coming, but he's spent quite.
Talking about that model that we had, James. He's not. We're not going to realise any money back from him. So again, the club are probably looking at it, going, "Is there any point giving him much game time?" They're probably just happy to cut their losses and he'll move on. That's probably how I see it.
Go on then. I don't want to score prediction just yet, Ben, but how do you see Wednesday's game panning out? I mean, we are the whipping boys, really. I know that we haven't had that many hammer-ins, but we're bottom of the league. We're in trouble. We didn't play very well at the weekend against our dear neighbours either. You're obviously, I think you're level on points with the team who's 6, so you're up there. You need to get out of this bit of a, I don't want to call it a rut, but 4 games without a win, you want to kind of stop that, I suppose. What's your kind of mentality going into this one? And you can say it's a game that you're looking to win. You don't have to be. What's the word I'm looking for? You don't have to be nice towards us. Do you know what I mean? You just say how it is. It's a game of football at the end of the day.
Absolutely, mate. Listen, I think it's a perfect game for us. I think that's how the players will view it. A home game against a team that's struggling away from home, struggling in general. You've just come off a 3-0 defeat. We're looking for a reaction after a 3-1 defeat. I think the players will look at it as a good opportunity. That being said, we've got so many players out, mate. Genuinely, I don't know what team we're going to field. I don't know what it's going to look like. He changed the formation Saturday. I say Langstaff even started. There was question marks over the team that he picked. We've picked up a red card. We've got a concussion injury. We've got another long-term injury from Saturday as well. So I wasn't joking when I said they're going to do a raffle before the game, because they genuinely might need to. We're that light. So listen, in my head, it's a good opportunity for us. I'm very positive when it comes to us, and all the podcasts laugh at me because I say 100 points, 100 goals, and they have a laugh about that. I would like to think if we can't win Wednesday, that's probably going to tell us a lot towards the rest of the season. Are we just going to float away again outside the top 6? If we are serious about the playoffs, we've got to beat the likes of you at home. Just saying it how it is. You're a side down the bottom end of the table. I know for obvious reasons, but
you can only beat the side that's in front of you, can't you? Really, you don't get any. We don't get a handicap just because we've had a shit owner. You know what I mean?
And I go back to the Preston game. They were in the top 6 with us at that time, and they were so bad, and they were awful. I mean, we were no better that day, but they were shocking. And I just said to my dad, I was like, if we are serious about the top 6, we have to beat these sorts of teams at home. So, as I say, we will look at Wednesday and go, we need to win to get our season back on track. That's a bit OTT. To come out that little bit of a rut that you said.
How do you play against teams that, use the technical term, the low block? Because away from home, we do tend to just let you have the ball, or let any other opposition. At home, it's a bit different. I think they kind of fall foul of the atmosphere really, and the fans and things and what their expectation is. But I'm just looking. I mean, you generally have less ball. You're 47%, I think, average over the course of the season so far. So clearly, you don't want the ball either. But yeah, if we force you to play football, are you going to struggle?
Well, a couple of things here, James. Wednesday night is going to be dead. You'll probably have more fans than us. The atmosphere in night games are awful. No thanks to Sky and the red button, so I'll just get that out there now. I think it's easier for people to sit at home than it is to go to the games. It's they're going to be. It's not going to be a great atmosphere. Put it that way. You're going to sell out, I'd assume, like you always do, and you'll definitely be louder than us. In terms of us having the ball, there was a stat early on this season where we had more ball than the opposition. We lost, I think, our last 5 games. So we are generally not great at breaking teams down, and we haven't got our most creative players fit and available. So it's going to be a struggle. If you sit in 2 banks of 4 or a 4 and a 5, however it might be, we are going to struggle. I would not be putting or advising anyone to be looking at over 2.5 goals in their betting accumulators, put it that way.
Here we go, the 4-0 Millwall win. I'm just looking at that, actually. It's 6 games where you've had 50% or more possession.
And we haven't won.
And you haven't won any of them. In contrast to that, when you've had 41, 40, 39, 39, and you've won all 5 of those games, including the 1-0 winner against our dear neighbours, and all of them as well, 2-0 as well. You've not even conceded a goal, which, I mean, look, possession means absolutely nothing, but I feel like more teams are like that. The teams that do have the possession seem to do absolutely nothing with it. It's kind of wasteful possession, and those that, I mean, are you a pressing side? Are Millwall going to put us under pressure at the back?
We're not going to be a Man City of old, in your face, really pressing you hard up the pitch, but we will be active in. We will have a press on you. It's not. I wouldn't say we were the highest in the league in terms of pressing, but I would imagine we'd be in the top half in terms of pressing stats. There's going to be an element of, if Femi plays, that's going to be Femi Aziz. That's going to be the game changer. It's going to be give him the ball and see what he can do. That's literally how it's going to be.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, basically put us under pressure, and I mean, we haven't got a centre back playing at the moment. Although we have brought in Liam Cooper, he had to play because Domayoff went off injured yesterday. So we'll see. He might start on Wednesday. So we might at least have one centre back. But we're playing wing backs and full backs in the centre back positions, which is not
and as I say,
not
I've
ideal.
Got no idea how we're going to set up because he changed it Saturday, and we've had 3 more players out since then. So I've got no idea.
Roll the dice and whatever comes up, and is where you pick your balls out of the hat or something.
But it could be.
But yeah, go on then. Give me a score prediction for the game on Wednesday. How's it gonna finish?
I'm going to say 2-0 Lions, mate. I'm going to stay under that 2.5 goals line that I've told everyone not to put in their accumulators. And I'd imagine it's probably going to be 2 set pieces as well, knowing us. Cooper's back, so. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a classic, mate. I really don't.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ben, before I let you go, where can people find all the chat about Millwall?
Yeah, head over to Chat with Chaps. So we're doing some amazing things on the channel. Chris, who obviously runs it, everything we do this year is going, well, all years are going to cancer research. We raised, I think, over 10 grand last year. So again, we're trying to break that this year. So even if you're not a Millwall fan, obviously if you're a Wednesday fan, come over, subscribe to the channel. Chris does amazing end game analyses of each game that we play. So come over and listen to what he'll say after the game on Wednesday. But yeah, Chat with Chaps on all socials.
Look, if we beat you, we might have some popping over. If we lose, I don't think there's going to be that many. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Ben. Ben, massive thanks, pal. Do really appreciate it. Obviously, all the best for the rest of the season. And hopefully Millwall do actually finally make it in the top 6. Just before you go, actually, one player who we had who was amazing, I think you'll probably say the same, Lee Gregory. Just a word on him. He's fantastic, weren't he?
One of my favourite Millwall players of all time, mate. And that partnership he struck up with Steve Morrison, you can't find a better partnership in the EFL, in my opinion. But absolutely love Greg's. He turned out to be, he wouldn't say Millwall legend. He's certainly teetering on it for some people. I absolutely love him. So one of my favourite Millwall players. And from where he come from, obviously Halifax non-league, and then coming in and turning it around. The only good thing that our dear friend Ian Holloway did for us was sign Lee Gregory. Yeah,
he's got a great story about how he signed as well, which is quite good. In terms of he rang him up, and I think it was Ian Holloway's wife that actually said to sign Lee Gregory, which look, it turned out all right. Maybe she knows ball. Who knows?
There you go, mate.
Ben, massive thanks, mate. Do appreciate it. Like I said, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Likewise,
cheers.
Mate. See you later.